talks about three words. It talks about faith, hope, and love. Many studies have shown that people can live without a lot of things. But one thing that we can't live without is hope. Hope keeps us going. Hope keeps us strong. Hope is important. And when we lose hope, and there's people in this room that you have been there where you felt like you lost hope. The Bible tells us that hope needs to come from God. Because people let us down. How many have ever been let down by someone? Possessions fail us. And we need to have our hope in God. I really believe that Jesus is the hope of the world. I really believe that. I really believe that he came in a manger to die on a cross because he is the hope of the world. And I also believe that the local church, through Christ, is the hope for our communities. I really, really believe that. Why do we live? If all of that is true, the question remains then, why do we live such hope in a hopeless world, or that it feels hopeless? I mean, I don't ask you to raise your hands, but maybe you're here and you feel hopeless, or you know somebody in your family or a friend of yours that feels hopeless. Or maybe at one point or another, you felt like things were just dark. What if I told you this morning that everybody in this room has the power to bring hope? That, yeah, I believe it comes from Christ and through his church. But what if I told you that everybody in this room can bring hope? We all do. That true hope comes from Jesus, but we can be part of that every single day, not just at Christmas. I'll tell you this story. I'll tell you a quick story. The other night, our Gertrude messaged me and she said, there's water in the entryway downstairs. And this has kind of been like the thorn in my flesh, this entryway. Not Gertrude, the water that keeps coming there. It keeps coming there from all different areas. Sometimes a sump pump somewhere else. So I went down to check it out because I'm very handy. And I went and so I went in the room, and you could tell that there was a leak somewhere in there. So I'm very, very smart because there was water on the floor. That's how I knew there was a leak. And so there was a leak and there was water on the floor, but I couldn't figure out where it was come from. And it wasn't coming from the sump pump because it was empty, and so everything looked okay, except for I knew there was a leak. So I started to, because plumbing's like basically like my 400th gift. Really far down the list. I only got 2, but that's another story. So I started to feel around all the pipes and I actually found out where it was leaking. It was in this really awkward spot, kind of like there was some rust there. This awkward spot. The well tank was there, and there was this pump that goes out, this line that goes outside, and I'm trying to make it sound simple so for you people who aren't very handy. And there was these water lines and things, and so I couldn't just fit a bucket underneath of it. And so I had nowhere to sit the bucket because that's where my skill is. I'm like, I'll just catch it in a bucket. And so I couldn't figure that out where to put a bucket in. So I didn't have a bucket, so I texted Penny. I said, Penny, can you bring me a bucket? So she did. So she comes downstairs with a bucket. And she comes into the room. It's just this little room. It's smaller than here. So now we're both in this little tiny room. And I'm trying to fix this problem. And so it was actually kind of funny. So we're down there and we're kind of both throwing around ideas. And we're both kind of like, making fun of each other. Like, oh, that's not a bad idea. That's a bad idea. So I took the bucket and I jammed it in between the tank and this tube that was taking water outside, so the tube was heavy. So I jammed it in there so it kind of stuck there and it looked real solid. And I said, there, I fixed it. And Penny's like, you can't leave it like that. And I'm like, it's just a slow leak. It's just a slow leak. It's just going to be a few drops. I mean, look how sturdy it is. And I shook it and it fell out. And so So we threw around some ideas, and she was just laughing. Like it was. I want to say this. Like she was not trying to be difficult. She was not being rude to me. So I mean, I want to just for illustration. And so we kind of were joking back and forth, and then totally innocently she said, "Troy, just move out of the way. I'll fix it. You're not good at this stuff." And so she's like laughing, and I'm laughing. Like on the outside, I was laughing. I was like, that's cute. And I laughed because it's true. I'm not really good at that stuff. And so I laughed it off, and then we kept fiddling with the thing. And listen, I want to be absolutely clear. I like to make fun of my wife sometimes, but I'm not trying to make her look bad. She didn't do anything wrong. And so we fiddled back and forth, and finally and then it kind of got, it's just as me, and I just like, listen, I'm going to do it, whatever. She's like, I'm not leaving here, so we had some fellowship about it. And so finally, I found this piece of board, and I put it across, because there was a shelf over here and a thing over here, and built a platform, not with nails or anything, that would be too much, but this platform, put the bucket on, and fit perfectly. Anyways, if anyone knows how to actually fix this, if you could get back to me, that would be great. But just in different ways, in different form, she would say, Troy, I'll do it, because you're not very good at this stuff, or I'll do it. And she didn't really mean anything by it, but actually inside, I actually started to feel really embarrassed, and actually felt really, this is going to sound crazy, I get it, but actually felt embarrassed and felt shame that I couldn't do it. That was not her intention. We were just laughing, and she was poking fun, and I was making fun of her ideas. She was making fun of mine, until she touched on something. And then finally I said, Penny, listen, I got to ask you, please don't do that. You say, why do you tell this story? I think what we need to know is that words are really, really powerful. Even words that are well-intentioned. So even this morning, as I texted Denis yesterday. I said, Denis, we're making a slide, and I was thinking about making fun of you, saying that you were single. I said, would that be okay? Because our words are really powerful. It says this in James 3, verse 1. Not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers, because you know that those who teach will be judged more strictly. We stumble in many ways. Anyone who is never at fault in what they say is perfect and keep their whole body in check. Verse 3. When we put bits in the mouth of a horse to make them obey, we can turn the whole animal. Or take ships for an example. Although they are so large, they are driven by strong winds. They are steered by a very small rudder, wherever the pilot wants it to go. Then it says this. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue is also a fire. A word of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire. In itself, set on fire by hell. Verse 9. With the tongue we praise the Lord and Father, and with it we curse human beings, who we have been made in God's likeness. Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. I think what we need to understand this morning is our tongue holds power. And that power is hope. This Christmas season, my prayer for everybody in this room, that you would choose hope. In the words that you say to yourself, you would choose hope. Because there's many people in this room that life is really hard for you. And I don't want to be difficult. But the Bible tells us that so a man thinks, so a man speaks, so he is. Don't believe everything you tell yourself. We need to be people who decide, not just this Christmas season, but every single day, to sell hope. Hope is in the power of our tongue. We can either bring hope to people, or we can actually bring the opposite of hope to people. And as I started to think through all the relationships that we had, here's the challenge for us. Husbands, boyfriends, your wife needs to know that you love her. Speak it often. Not just when you want something. Fill in the blanks. Speak words of life. And those words will lead to action. Men, leaving your wife wondering is not right. Speak life. The truth is, there's many married couples who have lost hope. There's many women in this room that you have lost hope. Men, speak words of life to her. Here's a bit of a... Instead of just saying, I love you, yeah, I love you, yeah, bye, I love you, yeah, love you, yeah. How many ladies know that words can be cheap? Can I get a... Oh, only a few. I was expecting that much louder. But here, men, how about this? That every time you say I love you, you say I love you because. And then tell them why. Your wives, the children, the mother of your children, they're exhausted. What you need to realize is what they do is the most important work there is. Don't downplay what they do in the words that we say. Wives, men are different than women. He knows that you love him. But more than anything, your husband, your boyfriend, needs to know that you believe in him. That you trust him. Speak words of life over him. I believe in you because. As a man, women, I want you to know that you will never change him by nagging him. I know, because I'm 45 and it's never worked once. But I'm telling you this morning, ladies, as a man, if you believe in him and encourage him, you will get the results that you are looking for. What you speak over him is what you will get from him. Parents and grandparents, every single day tell your children that you love them. Put down the phone and listen to them. Do some activities this Christmas. Speak love and encouragement over them. Just a couple of months ago, I was driving the car with one of my kids. I won't tell you which one, because I wouldn't want to embarrass him. We were driving in the car and we were having a discussion. He was in the passenger seat, I was in the driver's seat. And we were going back and forth and it was about school. That's what all our discussions are about. They're about school. That's all we talk about. And so we're talking about school and how I said, what? And I actually said the words, something to the effect of, come on. Like, what is wrong with you that you couldn't blank? And I will never forget the day he just said, Dad, and he told me why, and I won't say why. And I remember in that moment, I realized what I was doing was not working. Parents, every single day, speak life and encouragement over your kids. Not just that they're cute, or they're pretty, or they're smart. All kids are cute, all kids are pretty, all kids are smart. But what gifts do you see in them? Speak it to them. To the kids and the youth in this room. Be very careful, because this time of year, most of our conversations start with, Mom and Dad, I want this for Christmas. Let me give you just a little bit of advice. Did you guys notice that I changed the color of my beard? Because some people didn't, and it's really got me shook up today, I'm not going to lie. But I need you to understand that your parents are stressed more than you realize. In some cases, they would never tell you, but in some cases they feel like they're not good enough. Maybe even hopeless. Here's a good way this Christmas that you could freak your parents out. Stop what you're doing, put down the device, turn off the video games. Walk into your parents' room or to your grandparents' room. And just tell them what you love or appreciate about them. Find your kids' pastor or your youth pastor. Instead of complaining, say, thank you. Speak words of life. Challenge for everybody in this room. Every person has a circle of people in their life. My challenge for all of us is to find an opportunity to speak life to them. To speak hope. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. This morning, just as we begin to just prepare to close, we just have a couple things. In the quietness of this moment, you don't have to stand. I would ask you just close your eyes. I would ask you to quiet your hearts as we head into this busy time of year. And we're going to sing a song together. The worship team is going to lead us in it quietly. And just reflect on the words. And remember, Jesus is the hope of the world. And you have the power to speak life or death. So as they sing together,